We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 So if you've got some changes to that current job description where somebody's going to be retiring, you're not anticipating a grade change?
No.
Okay.
And I've sent this to HR.
Okay, could you also send that to me?
Yes.
And I can change the job title?
Yes.
And then what we can do, we can keep that at the 15. In October, you could, if you have somebody to promote up, you could promote someone up, evaluate your caseload and see if you need to replace whoever moves up or just see.
I'm planning on posting inside and out, so
Okay. Perfect.
yeah. And then do you need, if there's an update to other job descriptions? If the titles or the grade, nothing else is changing, do you need
The only
those?
thing I care about right now
Okay,
is
for
just the job
title.
title. In fact, you don't even have to send me the job description, just send me what that title's gonna change to.
Okay.
And
But,
then,
but work with HR, job
Right.
descriptions and all that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so, yeah, he's been working on these with me.
Okay.
Both Josh and Matthew have these, and I've talked to them probably about the last week that I started working on them.
Okay,
So
perfect.
they've got them.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thanks.
Braden.
All right. Braden Clayson, Chief of Staff, here to present the Commissioner's budget amongst other items.
6 to start.
Page 6.
we just gotta get there.
Nope, you're good. This one's gonna be fast anyways.
We'd expect nothing less.
That's right. County operations might take a little bit.
You're right. Per usual.
Per usual. So going through this, there's no adjustments, nothing being requested for a budget. Everything there has been left alone. There was one question I wanted to just double check. We thought cell phones. I know that IT absorbed our CenturyLink lines. Those are no longer an issue, but we wanted to make sure that our cell phones were all covered within the office. And it looks like the 1900 was put in there. For some reason, I thought when I was filling this out last year, we zeroed that out as well, but we're good there. That was the one thing I just wanted to make sure as far as the commission budget was.
Let me make a
concerned.
comment on that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I use my own cell phone, but this new guy might want a cell phone.
Right, and I think that we still had money in there allotted for yours.
I don't know.
I'm sure we did, but I'll
Phones-
double check on
Phones
that.
are only $480, so if you're only paying for 4, because 3 and 1 for you, right?
Mhm.
So 4, we just need to make sure there's 1900 will cover it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should be good.
But that was the one item that I wanted to just double check because of that change. I didn't know if the incoming commissioner would want a line or would want to go the route that you did, John. But if that's in there, then I think we're covered on it. There were no adjustments to any of the travel or the commissioner's education or anything along those lines.
Should we change the travel for District 3 because that new commissioner might choose to travel the same as the other commissioners?
We
Just because
could.
Commissioner Crowder chose not to?
I'd put it in there.
Yeah, you better bump that
That
back up.
individual might
could.
not.
Better equal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you thought of that, Christie, because I think when this was filled out, it was April, and that wasn't
Yep.
even in my thought process.
Well, it was May, but
Was it
before
May?
primary.
Okay. Other than that, the travel, education, thing for staff along those lines, office supplies, everything else in B budget has just been requested to remain the same.
What about the NACO leadership? Is that just for commission staff or is that countywide?
Well, so I think that we talked about the NACO leadership coming out of, especially this year, where we put the 20,000 into HR last year for the countywide training system. I think that we would countywide take it out of that money the rest of this year, but
In your commission budget, you've got 10,000 and it just says NACO leadership. So if that's going to be countywide, don't we want to put that in county operations?
correct, yeah. And I thought that we'd already reflected that.
Well, Jeff was using that for travel, right?
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
That was
That's
Jeff's
right.
But that
NACO.
was, I thought that was supposed to be countywide though.
Well,
For NACO.
it kind of was, I thought. Well,
Okay.
I don't know. All I know is Jeff,
Yes, that was his. That's
we
why the-
we added the
Board.
extra money for,
I think Ernie and I did talk about it, and in case there were other electeds that were wanting to go to a conference to support
So
Bannock
maybe
County.
let's make a note on the side and call it electeds.
Okay.
all electeds, something like that, because I'm sure, well, I don't know if any other electeds would like to go, but I'm sure if they did,
Yeah.
And
I know the
This would
invitation
just-
has been extended, I just don't think anybody's gone yet. But I think that's great.
and just to clarify that, it's NACO Weir. I mean, they're
Yeah.
both
Should-
NACO, but.
we need to
Right.
take
If you-
leadership, we need to take leadership off there and maybe call it like NACO Weir.
NACO Weir.
Yeah, NACO/WIR. Western, and anyways, it's this side of the country.
Western.
Interstate, Western Interstate.
Regions, isn't it?
I think it's something like that.
Western Interstate Region.
Okay. Okay. Any questions on commission?
Nope.
Thank you for the passes on that. I knew I could rely on you for it.
County operations?
Okay. So going through this, I don't
That
have
was
any,
page 10.
I don't have any A budget that I'm going to cover since everybody else has kind of done those.
No, we do have in 424 operating, that $2,500, it says candy for parade. Are we still doing parades, or can that just be, we've not been using that for just parade money?
Right, I
We've
think it's
been
been-
using that for anything that's operating.
Yeah, it's been parades, it's been open houses for planning development. Emma's used it for some of her events. I think
So we just
emergency
need-
management, so yeah, we could change
Just get rid of
that.
the description,
Yeah.
or the comment.
That's fine. The big one on here, did you want to go down to education? So that was one where we added the 20,000 into HR last year to get the countywide software or development training program. But we wanted to still keep the 10 in there for education. And that would be, I think that would assist, like Emma with, she's looking to do some.
I thought she has her own line.
She does have her own line, but I think there's an additional course that she was looking at going to next year.
Then we
Like
should put that in her budget.
and we can move it in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be fine,
Otherwise, the point of having each person have their own,
for sure.
those categories is so that we know what we're spending on those. But just to have a blanket dollar amount isn't very transparent.
Yeah.
We can put it in that way, that's fine. I think she had 2 trip schedules, is why we did this.
Okay.
And then it would also kind of extend to anyone that maybe didn't budget enough for a training. I know Melissa has talked about, she wanted to do a different training, but then today she said that most of it is online and that they're looking to do them more local. But that has been something, I think, in the past that she had a bigger conference last year or the year before that she wanted to go to. And I think that's why we put some money into this line then.
But that would only be for the individuals that are paid out of this department.
Correct.
So they'd have $10,000 free money for whatever training they opted to.
We
if
can
they did
definitely
plan.
go that route. I have no issues with that.
I think it just is a little more
Mhm.
clear.
Okay.
So if you can get,
$100 amount to get back with
Yeah.
you. Okay. When do you need that, by the 11th?
no, the recommendation is due the 11th.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll get it to you
so-
earlier than that then.
4th.
I'll get it to you the 4th. Well, I did hear that one.
You don't get a holiday off if you don't get it in.
You know
Okay.
who's not gonna have a holiday off?
Yeah.
Us, putting it together.
If
No, I mean,
if you don't have it by the 4th,
You will
nobody else
have
gets
it.
it off.
You will have it by the 4th. We'll get
and
it to
then
you.
on the training library,
Mm-hmm.
there, we were working with, in HR's budget. I'm not sure if you saw that one. Is that money that Matthew could utilize for, he's hoping to just use iCrimp, and Jason, correct me. He's hoping to just use iCrimp for anything that is already available, but there might be a few items outside that scope that would be more, not personalized, specific.
Yeah.
Would that be money that's available to him? Should we move some of that, like maybe make this 10,000 or 20,000, but give him 10?
In the training library?
Yeah, Ernie mentioned something, he wasn't sure what Jeff had
Like,
intended for it.
what was it, Black River or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
I
that
know
we did.
he had talked about.
Also,
one
there was the NACO trainings that different people,
Department heads have taken, you know.
we've put that in their goals
Right.
and
Oh,
stuff.
right,
But,
the,
so there was 30,000 with, I think HR originally had the 10, and then we put 20 in from the commission last year so that Ryan would, or so that HR would be able to go in and make an all-inclusive training access to the entire county.
Right.
So I think Jeff wanted, if we're not gonna do that, Jeff wanted to take 10 to do some Black River and some of the NACO stuff. And then I think leave 10 in, so then there'd be 20,000 in the HR training budget. But basically taking 10 back from the 20 that was given to do some separate trainings.
So of that 30, could we leave it at 10, move 10 to HR, and then just drop off the other 10?
And eliminate 10.
Yeah, I don't see, if we can get it through iCramp much cheaper, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't.
And right now, he honestly has so much on his plate that while he's gonna try and do what he can,
Yeah.
he may not be able to
Yeah.
have time to do that.
Well, and we talked about this too, Krista, you and I did, I think before Matthew was hired, because we were unsure whether or not any of those funds would be able to be expended this year because of not knowing how quickly we'd hire that spot. So I think if we can utilize it that way and save 10, then I don't see a reason we
So
wouldn't.
how should we label that? We don't want to put a specific vendor, because that shows a promise of something that
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
might change. Do you want to just put like, and I'm not sure what it's going to be. Is it going to be, and maybe what we need to do is just put in that education above,
Just
maybe we need to
countywide
move
training.
that 10 back up there.
So, while we're talking about this, because Anita, when she was in here, she said that she wanted to do that. Did she put money in her budget, or was we
No.
talking about this? So,
She didn't,
She wanted it added.
but she wanted to add it.
so
But
I guess my question is, rather than add it that way, do we want to leave 20,000 here and say that it's county because
Countywide
it's out?
training?
county leadership.
Anybody that wants to do
Or,
leadership type training or employee improvement training, or I don't know how to,
the only negative to that I see is the people that know about it are going to spend it all, and then anybody else that doesn't know, but then hears through the
they're going to
grapevine.
have to come and
Get
clear.
approval.
In my opinion,
But will it-
it's a category that we say, okay, your office, then bring the plan to us.
But will it be, it'll be a first come, first serve is what I'm trying to get. So maybe send, if this is approved, ran through, and you put 20 in there, then just send a countywide email, hey, we have these funds set aside. Let us know if you have someone that would be interested in doing this. You could do it elected official notification.
I don't know that,
Yeah, we'll kick it around and see
so, yeah,
how it fits.
because Hal's he's utilized it and it's done a good job. Anita mentioned it and she wants to help her employees. If it's kind of an in-house, not travel type training, that,
Okay.
Okay. All right, and then the next thing I have, we had 49301 land lease with Union Pacific Railroad. We've got 9,700 budget in there. We wanted to cut 4,000 of that. We've only come close in the last couple of years to about 5,000. So we wanted to put that at 5,700
On your leases,
on land leases, or land lease Union Pacific Railroad for 301.
do we have any of those that only come up every couple of years?
We had the one in McCammon that did recently, but I don't think anything has changed on that.
Okay.
Looking back in the last at least 3 years,
Okay.
it's been between $400 and $4,900. So we thought leaving it about 5,700, just in case something like that does pop up. That's why we didn't cut it all the way down to that $4,900 mark.
That was haunting in the back of my mind, so I wanted to make sure we didn't short it.
Well, yeah, we had the one in McCammon that popped up out of nowhere, and that was kind of the reason we did that. So I'm with you. And then lease parking, we've had 2,000 budgeted, but we're about $2,500 right now for this year, so we wanted to bump that up.
That's just for over here, right?
I think it's the church, and then there was another area too, and I had it in my notes, but I don't have them on me. But there's one other area where we've got some, I think, a parking lease. But the church one, we've been looking for the actual copy of that lease, and what's that?
I have it.
You have that contract? Oh, we don't have it. So
I have a copy of it.
Yeah, I'd like to get, I haven't been able to find
Okay.
it, so if I can get that copy from you. that would be helpful.
Okay, will you find out what else is in there? Because to my
yes.
knowledge, that's the only thing that's in
And
there.
then I will get back to you on what I find on the difference. And then one thing that I don't know if I marked it on you guys' copy or not, but our IAC dues, we've got the 27,330 budgeted. The dues this year actually came in about $700. Is that in there? I couldn't remember if that made it or
I
not.
just got that notification,
Okay.
so that was on my radar to verify through the clerk's recommendation.
And
Make
that's,
sure everybody was.
that's all I wanted to make sure that you guys would maybe add that into your clerk's recommendation.
I think Ernie
I sent it,
emailed it to me.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So then that one is covered. Animal control, that's been hovering about 2,500, but this year I think we were closer. We used 3,000 is what we've shown.
Did we just sign a new agreement?
I don't know if it's actually been signed or not. I know the sheriff was working on it.
It's
And
come
then
before
legal-
us 2 or 3 times, and I can't remember.
I don't know that it's actually officially been executed, so that I will find out. But we were $500 over on that, so we wanted to move 500 into there and just call that 3,000 on the animal control. And then the other thing, and I think Emma covered this with you guys today, her cell phone. I think we were short on that, so we wanted to just increase that by $200 as well to cover her expenses, and she may have already covered that in her budget. And other than that, I think that addresses everything.
There's 5,000 in here for the wellness program. This was what we were gonna talk about after we talked to HR.
Oh, that's right.
Did we want to keep that in here? Do we want to move, so far the only thing that we've really paid out of there, I think, is the health fair food.
Mhm. I think-
And I'd just keep it here right now, because they're working together.
Okay.
Christie and Matthews have been talking,
Okay,
and so let them kind of
He-
come
And
to us.
especially for this year, because he's swimming, there's so much to do.
He's got a
I think
lot.
by next year, I mean, we've talked about doing countywide
Employee appreciation.
employee appreciation and fitness and
Mhm.
things like that, and different things that we can do to keep our costs down for our insurance and things like that. But I think for this year, just leave it.
now he has 2,000 in his budget.
Right?
So do we want to just keep them both and then just coordinate the use?
For right now, yes.
Okay, perfect. I just
I-
want to make sure we're not,
Yeah, I'll double check with him and see if he thinks that he'll get to any of that,
it's
but
$2,000.
yeah, it's not gonna be a big deal,
Okay.
but if he does get to something, then he can use that
And then ask for
and
that.
correlate for the health fair and
Um,
things like that.
On the juvenile detention,
Mm-hmm.
because we have that bill, I'll also adjust that if necessary through the clerk's recommendation to see if we're going to need to add to that. or
If you
reduce.
would, yeah, that's been one that I've just always kind of talked with you about, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
you've
And I've
always
always,
helped with that one.
I've always done it through the clerk's recommendation because
It's perfect.
and even potentially through the commission proposed, because if we change salaries differently than the clerks, we'll have to adjust for it. So that'll just be a moving target.
Yeah.
Yep, that's good. Any questions on that?
Did you do the next page?
I got all of it.
Potential litigation, keep that the same.
Mm-hmm.
The funding for the event center, I'll adjust that as we balance budgets, because that's a contribution that general fund makes to that department. And then you want to keep grant match at 250?
That's what we had, yeah, that's what we had
Okay.
put in.
Are we going to use that money also to pay CCOG if they have a grant application?
That was a discussion I think we were going to have.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So that's for you guys.
Sure.
Yeah, I think so. Do you think so?
I think that's
Yeah.
the route that Commissioner Huff wanted to travel down, but I think he wanted to just have the conversation with these guys first, but.
Okay, at this point, that's what we'll do. And we've not used much of that, so most of that's going to be carried forward
Mhm.
dollars that have been unspent this year.
Mhm.
So. Okay, the rest of it we did cover through people.
Yep. Contingency? So For contingency, we left the same dollar amount as last year, just asking 200,000 again.
What page are you going to?
14 for contingency.
That one has always just, it's usually bounced between $200,000 and $300,000. And that traditionally has been used if a department goes over budget or unanticipated costs. Statutorily, it could be up to 5% of the general fund.
Okay.
Health district?
Yep.
What are you going to?
Health district?
I don't have that down here.
Yeah, you do. It's on the second line.
What page are we on?
I'm not sure, but I'm getting there.
It's 53.
This one is,
This one's increased a little bit. We've got the same as last year though, the 1.1 million.
yeah, we missed changing that on the department request.
Actually, it went down $100.
No, it's wrong. That number should be, it's upside down. $1,117,275.
1,117,175.
275.
275.
So actually, it did go down.
A little bit.
It was supposed to go down $100 is what I thought.
That's about right.
That's a first.
Yeah.
On the record.
Well, thank you for giving me that right number. Fair district,
That one's 11,000,
11,000, yep.
and that is paying Bingham for the
Southeast Idaho.
And that's the same as last year.
Waterways, we kind of already talked about.
Yeah.
It's about 25,000. It's just based on the fees that come in. And then, oh, do you want to do public defenders?
Public defenders, we've got the 165,000 for rent, which sounds like will be until 2029.
What page is that on?
57.
57. It's just one line and it just is that dollar amount. What I am hoping to do pending funding is we'll use indigent reserves if there are any. Because with public defense, we're gonna have payouts for employees. What I would like to do is see how much money we're gonna have left, use grant funds first for that. If there's any grant funds after that, then we can save those dollars to use towards rent. And then if there's reserves in indigent, we can look and see if we wanna pay for those out of here. We've also got Chantel still in that department. And then we'll just use up all the reserves in that fund until there are no more. Then we'll have to start moving things to the general fund.
How many years is this rent thing gonna go on?
5?
29.
Till 29.
Yeah.
29.
Okay,
So,
so 5 years.
yeah. So that one is potentially gonna,
Yes.
Shift
And then
and
the
variable.
indigent too. I mean, we're gonna still
Mhm.
have the autopsy, or the burials,
Yep.
Yeah.
so.
so, but if we can get a little farther in the process, that could potentially even move in commission proposed. If I don't have enough information when we do the
Right.
clerks. It's hard to estimate what we're gonna have. So, that'll be a problem. And then the last one is opioid.
Junior college,
Oh, junior college.
we've got 40,000 in there, that's the same as last year.
Those are tobacco funds. And if we have been using some reserves down because we had quite a bit of reserves in there. So depending on where those are sitting for the clerk's budget, we may have to dip back into tobacco money. But either way, it's not property tax dollars. We budget 40, never knowing what we're gonna spend. We can look and see if maybe that's been too much and we could possibly try and take it down a little bit. But it's another one of those
As long as
that,
it's reserves and tobacco money,
then
it's
it's,
just a number to me.
yeah, and it saves from having to open the budget if we're gonna go over because it's,
We were about 10,000 short for 23, but, or 10,000 over, excuse me. But
So that's not really
Not, yeah,
too
not a
bad,
ton.
considering you don't know.
Keeps you from having to open if you do get close.
Yeah.
Then waterways we talked about, opioid.
And
Did you have a chance to run through your new email? The DocuSign that we talked about, the Kroger?
Yes,
opioid?
that's on the agenda for Tuesday next week.
Okay.
Right now, so I pulled a trial balance for opioid. We have a budget of $250,000. Currently, we're sitting at about $575,000 in cash. The only items we're spending out of there currently was we paid for one of the problem-solving courts to do their training. And then we've got, the only recurring money is Tony's program, that I can't remember what the initials are,
I can't remember.
but it's the.
MAP?
MOUD, M-O-U-D.
Okay, that. That's not really that much money. This year to date, we have spent about $32,000. So, that cash number I gave you, of course, isn't projected out, that's just as of right now.
Mhm.
So we can keep that at 250 unless you want to start anticipating some other programs.
For this year, I'd say 250, and then we need to seriously look at what we can utilize them funds for. But I always worry we start building a reserve in this that well, somebody will want it.
And I do have on Tuesday's agenda, we got a new settlement from Kroger of money, so I need that to get signed. We have two other items I'm going to bring before you of seeing if we wanted to dispute a couple settlements. That got sent to legal and died, and so we didn't dispute it because the deadline was last week and I missed following up. So we can talk a little bit more next week. If there's some, well, we'll just talk more next week, specific opioid.
But I don't believe that the Hope South, you checked into that, and it wasn't something that we could use these funds for, even after the information that we got originally.
Okay, good to know.
And so we just need to, though, look at whatever programs are out there that we can utilize these funds for. I don't want them just sitting there. I want them to be utilized for the purposes they need to be utilized.
Tomorrow during the ambulance meeting, I think once upon a time, Ryan had expressed some interest in a program and trying to use those funds for something. I can't remember what that is, but I probably have notes in my opioid folder. And I can run back through what all of the appropriate uses are. And maybe on Tuesday next week,
That'd be a good review.
I can run through that with you and then we can revisit.
They're
If you
fairly
want-
limited.
If you want us to reach out to certain departments and have them start
And then if we
looking at.
Yeah.
If we review that and there's something come up, we can adjust this if we needed to, if we have a program.
I'm sure the problem-solving courts would appreciate funding in future years. It's pretty minimal. I don't remember what you approved for them, but
I thought it was 15 or 20,000, wasn't it?
this is why I brought my binder.
For the
Shoot, I
training?
didn't write it down.
That was for Jared and company to go to
Yeah.
that training, right? I
Yeah.
thought it was about 15 or 20.
It wasn't very much.
It wasn't a
money.
ton.
So, but those would be uses that we could anticipate.
I think they need to be utilized.
And then you had me put in the Veterans Trust.
Oh,
That was 3,000, same
And-
as last year.
and that is money that Melissa gets through United Way, and it just helps her do those programs that she presented to the board a couple weeks ago.
And the last one, the Capital Acquisition Trust, which we'll probably talk about, I'm assuming with Dan tomorrow, but
Potentially, that capital acquisition trust, we'll just have to see how much money is left in there. We'll budget that cash amount at the end of the year. That's how
Word.
he's gonna do chambers remodel.
it just says various courthouse projects,
Yeah.
425,000.
And he would really like to keep that, but I'll have in there as the cash that's there. It's not like an ongoing revenue source, so.
Well, thanks.
Yep, here we go.
Day 3, huh?